Welcome to another episode. Today we'll be installing a new starter in this 2005 Chevy Silverado. This is our farm truck and it's done pretty good for us. Over the course of time, we've had very few repairs on it. The starter has finally given up the ghost, so it's time to get a new one installed. The first step is to disconnect the negative battery terminal. For this truck, you'll need a 5/16. The starter will be located behind the passenger front tire. There, you can see it up there. I'll start off by taking out the 10 mil bolt first. That was really loose. It started coming out immediately. I hope those 14 mils are in a little bit tighter. Oh, yep, they're in tighter. This is why they say be careful what you wish for. I wanted them tighter and they were tighter. Oh, man. There it goes. Those were both on plenty tight. Now we'll try and move the starter back out of the way. Went ahead and put on some gloves. My hands were getting so greasy I didn't want to touch the camera. So I did go ahead and disconnect this electrical connector. It seemed to be binding up the starter, but now that I have it out, I am able to rotate this and get it down. The connection that goes onto this location of the starter is a little bit short. You can see it stuck up here. Oh, maybe my arm's in the way here. I don't know if you can see it on the end of my finger there. So I had to get that disconnected in order to get the starter down. It was kind of lodged up in there, and now we'll go ahead and get this last connection off. Yeah, it's an 8 mil. We've got the old greasy starter out, so let's go ahead and get this shiny new one wired in and bolted up. While the starter appears to be a success, I could hear a squeaking sound that appears to be coming from the rear U-joint. I'll put the camera back there to hopefully pick up the squeak on camera. You know, it only makes sense. If you fix one thing, something else just has to immediately break. It wouldn't be any fun if it wasn't that way. I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do, pull it back on the lift, probably just swap out that rear U-joint. They're only about $20, $30, and if that fixes the problem, then we're good to go. I did find a little crack in this rear U-joint, so I'll go ahead and show that to you. Overall, I think this U-joint, it's time to be replaced. I am using impact sockets along with a hydraulic press to remove the U-joint, and this worked quite well.
I did replace both the front and rear U-joint and the drive shaft, but I will only show disassembly of the rear. Keep in mind the process will be the same for both sides.
Just powdery in there, all rusty. It was definitely time to change this out. I'm just going to clean out this snap ring groove real quick. There's definitely a little crud in here. I want to make sure the new snap rings fit in place easily. I can feel some real light burrs on this inner surface of the yoke, so I'm going to take a rounded file and just real lightly knock the burrs down, and I am just being really careful to not damage this inside surface. I'm just trying to take down the burr. That feels good on that side. There's another spot on this side. I'm just gonna knock that down real quick. That feels a lot better.
I have the two U-joints sitting side by side. The one I just grabbed is the front U-joint that was between the drive shaft and transfer case. You can see some wear on this bearing surface. It's certainly time to be replaced, but overall it's not nearly as bad as what you'll see on the other U-joint. This U-joint was located between the driveline and the rear differential, and you can see it is absolutely worn out and really is in need of replacement. So I'm glad that I heard that sound and we went ahead and got it replaced.
This U-joint came with these external snap rings, and they are 60 thousandths of an inch in thickness. The new U-joint, and I did go ahead and get a Spicer U-joint, which is the same as the original. It came with 3 different sizes of external snap rings. The smallest is 0.0595, the middle was 0.061 of an inch, and the thickest was 0.063. The originals are coming in right between these two. I am going to go ahead and use these bronze colored snap rings. In the documentation that comes with the Spicer U-joint, it actually does mention that these are the more common size. So we'll go ahead and use these. They're very close in size to the originals. Another thing I would like to point out, this is showing that you actually can use 2 different sizes of snap ring within the U-joint. So possibly on this end and this end, you maybe could use a green, and this end use bronze. I was not aware that they even use different thicknesses of snap rings with U-joints. So in the future, when I disassemble a U-joint, I will be careful to keep track of which snap rings came from which location, just in the event that I do need to use different sizes. In my case, all 4 are the same thickness, so we're just going to use that size. Another thing I will point out is the original U-joints were a non-greasable U-joint, and I did go ahead and get another non-greasable U-joint. They do show in the information that comes with it that these are pre-greased and not to add any additional grease. So just a few things to keep in mind if you're doing a similar project. That feels nice and solid now.
The external snap ring for the rear U-joint is easily installed with a light tap from a mallet. I won't show installation of pressing this into the drive shaft as it is similar to what was seen on the prior clip.
I'm happy to report that after replacing the U-joints on the driveline for this truck, it is sounding much better, so we can go ahead and call this project complete.